We got some breaking news. Right now, 3 suspects are in custody after leading police through a chase through multiple Oklahoma counties this morning.
Fox 25's Julie Calhoun live where the chase ended, explaining what the third suspect was doing when police caught up with them. Julie.
Well, Mitch and Leslie, in the last 10 minutes, we found out that third suspect was arrested after trying to steal another vehicle in Midwest City. Now, we've done
8:04 at the live desk, and we are just getting in a statement from the Rand Paul campaign, who says he is dropping out of the presidential race, saying it's been an incredible honor to run a principled campaign. He ends his campaign in this statement. We will post this to OKCFox.com. In the meantime, you can see Marco Rubio at an event in New Hampshire. Now let me take you live to a Congressional Oversight Committee that is now hearing about the Flint water crisis. You might remember this is a situation where they received their drinking water from the city of Detroit system, and then following that switch there were a lot of problems and high levels of chloride levels. So now Congress is looking into this to see how it happened, why it happened, and who knew what. We'll continue to monitor this from the live desk.
Keaton, thank you. Let's get into some developing news. New this morning, we're getting our first look at a former Luther band director since he was arrested. You're looking at 33-year-old Kyle Whitmus. He's accused of sexual misconduct with a student who is a preteen girl. Investigators reportedly found sexual messages in the victim's cell phone. He could face 1 count of rape in the first degree, along with 3 counts of indecent acts with a child under 16. Whitmus is being held on a $200,000 bond. School leaders say he was suspended back in April of last year. He later resigned. This all comes after 4 Norman student athletes were charged with sexually assaulting younger students on a school bus. It made national news, and today there is some new policy at Norman Public School Systems. The school district is now requiring more supervision for student trips. Supervisors will be seated in areas where they can see students at all times, and there will be expanded training sessions and increased video surveillance on all buses. 2 coaches have been fired. The 4 Norman North students have now been charged with felony rape charges. They all were issued a $5,000 bond and a no contact order for both the alleged victims. Court records show that the 2 JV teammates were assaulted on the bus, then again when the team arrived back at Norman North. Right now, Oklahoma City police are investigating a shooting overnight at a Metro Walmart. It happened Tuesday night just before 10. Officers received a call that people in 2 cars were shooting at one another in a parking lot in the store in Northwest Expressway. Now, this morning, it's not clear what led up to that altercation, but what we do know is that one of the cars was a white Ford Mustang convertible with a black top. The other car is believed to be a silver hatchback sedan. And others, the good news is that there was no injuries in those shootings. But if you have any information, just call Crime Stoppers. The number 405-235-7300. You can remain anonymous, and you may actually earn a cash reward.
New this morning, an accused serial stalker is behind bars right now. Police say he's been terrorizing people all across the metro, and there could be more victims out there. We want you to take a listen to one of dozens of phone calls police say William Aiken posted on YouTube.
Please don't call me again.
Okay, did you have a good Mother's Day? You
Did.
Pretty explicit. Police say Aiken threatened his victims over the phone, calling one woman, claiming that she'd had an affair with him, threatening to tell her husband. Investigators say his threats against others were gruesome. He told people he'd torture them, cut off their fingers. Officers say they know of at least 5 victims, but based on online videos dating back to 2014, there could be dozens more. Also new this morning, Dallas County health officials are confirming a sexually transmitted form of the Zika virus. The Zika virus, a global health concern right now, is usually carried by mosquitoes. But the infected person in Dallas says they had sexual contact with someone who had recently traveled to a country where the virus is found. This is not the only case. Investigators have been exploring the possibility. They found the virus in one man's semen in Tahiti, and there was a report of Colorado researcher who caught the virus overseas, apparently spread it to his wife back home in 2008. Even though it can be spread through sexual conduct, here in Oklahoma, our health department says the primary method of transmission is still through mosquitoes. 2 senior military leaders say this morning women should be required to register for the draft. This after the U.S. lifted bans on women doing combat jobs in the military. Right now, the current system requires men between 18 and 26 living in the U.S. to register for the Selective Service System. They could be called into service in the event of a draft if it's reestablished. Acting Secretary of the Army Patrick Murphy thinks women joining the draft should be put to a national debate. The last time a draft was used was during the Vietnam War.
8:14 at the live desk. We're getting brand new documents in from the Tulsa County Sheriff, who is trying to answer some questions over an individual named Cedric Norris. You might remember him. He was the suspect involved in that deadly bank robbery in Eufaula. We learned shortly after that he was supposed to be in jail the whole time. The Tulsa County Sheriff now releasing the hold forms that showed that they believe the state of Oklahoma properly processed him and that the blame now falls on the Texas Department of Corrections for not locking him up. We're going to go through these documents and post that new information to OKCFox.com.
Well, right now there are blizzard conditions crossing the Midwest with heavy snowfall and strong winds, while the Southeast is dealing with tornadoes and heavy rain.
And reporter Jackie Ibanez shows us how folks are dealing with weather conditions this morning. Yes, American Airlines free complimentary snacks for the first time since 2003. I never thought I'd see the day.
Get your munch on.
Wow, I want to eat some peanuts. What's the deal with the peanuts?
Cookies and pretzels.
Oh, right.
We know we'll see those in the main cabin by April. American Airlines also expanding its free entertainment options. Customers will have access to 40 movies, 60 TV shows, and 300 albums to listen to in flight.
While you're on the tarmac.
All
Very
while
nice.
You have this much space in between.
Yeah, exactly.
And the guy.
I'll be excited when you can give me a little bit more space to relax.
Would you rather have legroom or the food?
Legroom.
Legroom or...
I'll bring my own snacks.
What about you, Cashman? You do a lot of... You're the
I'm really
traveler.
small.
You are really small.
And I travel a lot, so I'm like, I don't know.
So you're fine.
Yeah, you do travel a lot.
I travel a lot. And I always thought it was crazy, though, about the snacks. A few airlines have gotten rid of them completely. It makes no sense to me.
Right.
Let's just take, just to give you a little...
I'd rather have free Wi-Fi. Just
Oh,
give me
yeah,
free Wi-Fi.
all day.
You know,
and we're good.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I always say, can you give me a can, like when I'm going to drink?
Yeah.
Because you know what they'll do? You have
Someone
that
just put it in the
ice, and you really only get about that much. And I'm like, really? It's 50 cents. So I'll even buy it. But usually,
Yeah.
I've never had them say no. But I always ask because I feel like I'm getting my money's worth still.
Yeah.
Do some airlines do free Wi-Fi?
I
I don't think so.
I know Southwest you have to pay, and then
Limited, yeah.
Southwest you can watch like limited TV and movies
Limited,
and radio.
right.
And
I know
stuff
there's
like that, which
apps.
just sounds like
But
what
you were
can hook up.
American Airlines is trying to do.
talking about some really smart stuff. You just download a movie before you go, so you can just watch it.
iTunes, right?
Yeah, I just buy them on iTunes.
Ooh, I'm flying with you next.
Yeah, but you
I
still
mean,
have to pay for it. Give me free Wi-Fi.
Spend $3 to rent that movie, you know, really
Really big
breaking
spender.
the bank here.
It is nice to have that luxury. I mean, if you think about it, remember, like back in the 50s, people used to dress up nice.
Yeah.
I would just like to see a dress code on airlines. That will never happen.
Get
at all.
out of here.
No.
Get out.
See me when I fly,
It was
bitch.
classy back then, though. Everybody's in their
Yeah,
suits.
it was a big deal. Well, speaking of dress codes, I'm trying to give you into this team.
Anyway, an OSU student taking a stand and quitting her job.
Yeah, we got the exact words the owner of a clothing store wrote that led to a student saying she was body shamed.
.826 Facebook question of the day. An OSU senior quitting her job because of body shaming she says she received by the clothing store's owner.
All right, OSU senior Shireen Zarabi, there she is right here, beautiful girl, works at Dainty Hooligan in Stillwater. This week, she noticed nearly 50 of her photos on the store's Instagram page were deleted. She then saw an email from the store's owner sent to the manager saying to post photos of size small model types in the store's clothing. The email also says, in part, this is not to put anyone down, but to communicate the expectations of the brand. The store's owner says the email was for a casting call for models, and that was deleting Zarabi's photos, was just revamping the store's social media. Our Facebook question of the day, and we've been wanting to hear from you, is what do you think about the store's action? And you've been posting your responses on our Facebook page at facebook.com/FoxOKC. Terrell says, privately owned business, enough said.
Catherine says nothing was said to this girl about her weight, and the owner isn't small either.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. You know, and the name of the place is called Dainty Hooligan, which would make one believe. Now, it would make you also believe, would Lane Bryant want, you know, waif-thin models for them? You know, we can look at it that way on the other side of the coin.
That's true.
All right, so we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Sound off? Do you think she's got to, you know, she should be upset for what happened? Let us know.
Well, presidential candidates are sounding off.
Now, find out what GOP candidates had to say about each other after the Iowa caucuses and exactly what age of voters Hillary Clinton is not getting much support from.
And find out why low gas prices are creating an economic boom in one community. It's 8:27.
8:34 at the live desk, and things are happening here. It is a busy morning at the live desk. We have a lot of feeds we're watching right now from the stock market. This is Chris Christie. Paul Ryan is making a speech right now, and I want to take you to two of these live sources. First, I want to take you to Philadelphia, where Bill Cosby, nope, they've changed the shot on me. I apologize for that. Let me take you to Flint, Michigan, if I can, or to the hearing, the congressional hearing on Flint, Michigan, happening right now. The EPA is under fire here for when it knew that the Flint, Michigan water was dangerous. Now the House Oversight Committee hearing about who knew what when. It's one of the many live things we are following here from the live desk. When news happens, you'll hear it first from the live desk.
Now that the Iowa caucus is over, presidential candidates are focusing in on New Hampshire. Tonight, Democratic candidates Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton will stand off in a town hall-style meeting hosted by CNN. It starts at 8 p.m., 7 our time. They will answer questions from Anderson Cooper and potential voters. The New Hampshire primary is next week, and candidates have been campaigning across that state. According to the final count, Clinton won in Iowa by 2 points. However, listen to this. Sanders won nearly 70% of the vote from voters under the age of 30. Right now, he leads Clinton in New Hampshire polls. Now, on the Republican side of things, it appears to be a three-man race between Iowa winner Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and Marco Rubio. It seems candidates are taking more direct shots at one another. Chris Christie referring to Marco Rubio as an overly scripted candidate, having an overly scripted campaign. Cruz criticizing Trump's media dominance, and a staffer on his team told someone Carson was dropping out of the race, which isn't true. Cruz has since apologized for that. However, Carson isn't focusing on New Hampshire much. He is headed home to Florida after coming in fourth in Iowa.
Hey, let's get on to some consumer news this morning. Today, CVS is opening its first pharmacy inside a Target in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, CVS bought Target's pharmacy last summer. Now, Target's 1,672 in-house pharmacies and 79 clinics in 47 states will be rebranded to CVS before the end of the year.
Meanwhile, the Dow Jones reporting Amazon planning to open hundreds of bookstores across the nation. No specific locations known right now, but we do know the online retail giant will open its first physical bookstore in Seattle sometime this year.
Now let's jump into our stock market right now. Show you some numbers. Dow Jones is up. Right now you can see that. Same goes for the New York Stock Exchange, up by 70 points. And of course, negative sentiment right now seems to be that lingering global markets over their U.S. stocks just took a sharp drop yesterday. Crude oil futures are starting to slowly edge back above $30 a barrel. I believe yesterday we saw it at a little time above $30. U.S. stock futures are looking pretty steady, and European stock markets also trimmed some earlier losses as well. So we show you what's going on. Oil right now, $30.20. That is actually down 4.49 cents, points. And it does look as if things are looking a little bit better here, but the drop in crude oil has actually cost thousands of jobs across the nation, including right here in Oklahoma City. But for one small community in Texas, low oil prices have been an economic boom.
In the town of Fentress, Texas, just south of Austin, it's a mothball fleet of more than 24 giant oil drilling platforms. Companies are storing the platforms while they are being unused, and as oil prices fall more and more, platforms are sent to the fleet. They're operated by an Oklahoma-based energy exploration company. The fleet's starting to become the talk of the town.
It's starting to become more noticeable, and we're starting to get more questions. You know, what are these things? What are they doing there? What are they doing with them? Are they going to tear them down? And nobody really has an answer.
As the drilling platforms sit there, crews on sites are repairing and maintaining machines. The workers are a form of economic support for other businesses in that community.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.